Welcome to the show. I'm Edward St. Pé, and we are happy to be with you on this new week. And we've got a few great stories for you coming your way. We've got why quantum computers will break reality. So that's what in the world? Breaking reality may be one of the next things we encounter. Also, we've got. Hopefully we can get it in with the other things we've got today, but we've got more on. Remember, recently we did a story on Rabbit, the new personal assistant that uses AI as a personal assistant device. Well, we've got an update on that. And we've got the insane race underway right now for the supremacy of humanoid robots. We've got a whole array of new robots that are entering the marketplace from all over the world. And China, everybody's got very, very, very adept and breakthrough models. So what will that mean to humanity, for our jobs and such as that? All of that coming up today on our show. So, okay, the first story today. What is quantum computing, and why is it so different from what we know right now as far as computers, how they work? Let's take a look. This is why quantum computing will break reality. Let's join it now.
Okay, Marvel's Ant-Man has some questionable physics at best, but one thing that Professor Pym does have right is that the smaller things get, the stranger the laws of physics that govern them will become. This is important to keep in mind as we go along. You've probably seen a quantum computer before. It looks pretty weird, more like some kind of a cross between a golden chandelier and a giant squid than anything we traditionally associate with a computer, but that's largely because our current viewpoint is a little too narrow. This thing is also a computer, the first computer, actually, as in the first ever. It was found at the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea and dates back to ancient Greece. It is known as the Antikythera mechanism. It was used to predict the movements of the sun, the moon, and the earth. It could have forecasted a solar eclipse decades in advance, the same as we can today. And this computer also looks pretty weird, although these shiny golden mechanisms you're seeing are just artistic recreations. The real artifact is actually a bunch of fragments encrusted with thousands of years' worth of ocean gunk. Calculating machines have taken many forms over the centuries that they've been used by humankind, so in many ways the quantum computer is just a next phase of evolution, but in many other ways it's not that at all. Modern computers as we know them are defined by bits. A bit is the smallest unit of data that a computer can process and store. Bits are the building blocks of every piece of digital information you have ever experienced. A bit is always existing in one of two states, kind of like a switch. This is why we say that computers speak a binary language. The state of each bit is typically represented by either a 1 or a 0. But it can also be represented by on or off, up or down, left or right, as long as each bit is holding one of two potential values. This is binary computing. The physical manifestation of a bit is called a transistor. This is like an electronic switch, and again, it can exist in one of two potential states, on and off. So the more physical transistors you have, the more bits of information you can process at one time, which is an oversimplification, but it gets the point across. So we've been constantly trying to make these transistors smaller and smaller over time so that we can fit more transistors into increasingly smaller devices. This old desktop calculator from the 1960s used 250 transistors. A current model iPhone has 19 billion transistors in its main processor chip alone. To accomplish this, we have reduced the size of the transistor down to a width of just 3 nanometers. This is too small for the mind to truly comprehend. It's only slightly wider than a strand of human DNA, which is 2.5 nanometers. It's possible that transistors could be reduced to the size of 1 nanometer by the end of this decade. There is a physical limitation on how small they can be, but regardless of how small you make a transistor, it is still limited by the binary nature of the bit. It can only ever be in one of two states. And this is where quantum computers come into play. A quantum computer uses its own unit of data measurement, which is the qubit. And these things can get pretty weird because qubits also represent ones and zeros, just like traditional bits, but qubits can also represent both 1 and 0 at the same time. They are non-binary, and this essentially gives qubits the potential to hold vastly more information than traditional bits. And the physical manifestation of a qubit is achieved by manipulating the spin state of subatomic particles, either protons or electrons, causing them to spin up and down or left and right, creating two distinct states, your 1 and 0. Except quantum mechanics allows these subatomic particles to exist in multiple states simultaneously, so they can potentially be spinning in all directions all at once. Remember, the smaller things get, the stranger the laws that govern them. Here's what that looks like. If you put two bits together, we know that each bit will represent either a 1 or a 0. So regardless of the combination, you have two bits of information. But when you put two qubits together, you end up with the equivalent of 4 bits of information. This is because there are now 4 possible combinations of 1 and 0, because each qubit has the potential to be both values at the same time. So instead of just being 1 and 0, the pair could also be 0 and 1, or 1 and 1, or 0 and 0, all at the same time. If this is starting to sound familiar, then that's probably because you're already a quantum physicist, or you've heard about a thought experiment called Schrödinger's cat. The basic explanation of Schrödinger's idea is that you could take a cat and put it in a box, then put something else in the box that could potentially kill the cat, like a cup of poison. Then you seal the box. Again, thought experiment, no one put a cat in a box with poison, at least not that we know of. Now, as long as there is no way for us on the outside to know what's happened inside the box, then we have no evidence to suggest that the cat is dead or alive. Maybe it drank the poison, maybe it didn't. My cat eats plastic but refuses to eat chicken. They're unpredictable creatures, and as long as we have no observable method to predict the fate of the cat, then it may be considered simultaneously to be both dead and alive at the same time. This is referred to in quantum physics as a superposition, and it is a state in which our qubits are able to reside. They are two potential outcomes occurring simultaneously. Now, the trick here is that the moment you open the box and check on the...
Okay, so you get the story there. We're about to break reality with the oncoming of quantum computing. So get ready for that too. There's a lot of potential future shock out there coming from a great array of areas, right? Okay, now this is the insane race for AI supremacy. This is the humanoid robot project that I mentioned a minute ago. Everybody is in it. We've got many firms in other parts of the world who are engaged in the development of humanoid robots. They're doing great things, and so is Tesla working on, I think it's Optimus, and also we've got Boston Dynamics, many different companies right now. And so what is going to happen with this humanoid robotics race? I mean, in the final analysis, will it take all the jobs away from regular humans? They'll be infused with super intelligence and very, very nimble. They can do anything the human can. Let's take a look at this video. We'll be right back after this.
The race to build AI humanoid autonomous robots is absolutely wild. There are so many companies working on this, and progress is happening so fast. Maybe you've heard of the Tesla Optimus or Boston Dynamics, but did you know that there are actually tons of other companies working on the same thing, such as AGI Bot, 1X Eve, Rainbow Robotics, and more. Some are insanely fast, as you can see here, while others are super smooth and are already in production. So today we're going to talk about all the contenders, all the companies in this AI humanoid robot race. This will be quite a long video as there are so many companies doing this, many of which are under the radar. So let's jump right in. Let's start with Tesla. Now, we all know Tesla from their electric cars, but they're actually doing a lot more than just cars. In 2022, Tesla unveiled a prototype of its humanoid robot called Optimus. Their goal was to create a general-purpose autonomous robot that can perform various tasks. Now, the Tesla Optimus is, in my opinion, the nicest looking humanoid robot out there, with a sleek, minimalist, polished design. And from the way it moves, as you can see here, it looks disturbingly human. It can dance, work out, and do yoga. It's important to note that not a lot of robots can balance on one leg, so this is actually a very impressive feat. The Tesla Optimus is 5'8", it weighs 57 kilos, and can carry up to 45 pounds or 20 kilos. Optimus uses the same powerful AI hardware and software that their self-driving cars use, and this allows it to leverage Tesla's advanced real-world AI for perception and decision-making. And here's where Tesla has a huge advantage over other humanoid robot companies. In order to train a robot properly, you need data. Lots and lots of data. And which company has the most real-world data? Arguably, it's Tesla. They have millions and millions of Tesla cars driving around the world. Each of them are equipped with cameras that record everything. So imagine how much real-world data they're collecting every minute, every second. This data is not only used to train their self-driving cars, but it can also be used to train the Tesla Optimus. Now, Optimus has sensors like cameras and LiDAR to perceive and map its environment, similar to Tesla's self-driving sensors. And with this, it can identify objects, sense surfaces and materials, and understand how to handle different objects. It learns from human demonstration via teleoperation, as you can see here, and also virtual simulations. So you can see the human here is demonstrating a particular action, and then this action is translated into movement in a simulated environment. So this is a virtual environment. It's basically a clone of the real world. It's called a digital twin, so it has all the physics of the real world, and this is where the robot can undergo millions of rounds of training. They do this in a simulation because it would take way too much time and effort to train this in the real world. But in a simulation, you can train it on millions of iterations at a much lower cost. As long as this simulated world gets the physics of the real world correctly, then in theory, this robot should be able to do this newly learned skill in the real world as well. So think of this teleoperation and then training this in a virtual environment. Think of this as like a monkey see, monkey do approach. Now the Optimus has 28 structural actuators that allow it to move flexibly and do various tasks. The legs are designed to provide explosive power for jumping, but also allowing delicate motions. Each hand has 11 degrees of freedom, along with metallic tendons for strength and flexibility. Its fingers have tactile sensing, so this allows it to handle heavy objects as well as delicate items such as eggs without breaking them. It can perform various tasks like picking up boxes, watering plants, and working at a factory station. So here's their most recent video showing the Tesla Optimus sorting batteries. So as you can see, it's intended for a wide range of applications, from assisting in manufacturing to doing things around your home. Eventually, they plan for it to be able to perform any task a human can, just from speaking to it. But this is currently not a feature yet, so I haven't seen a demo where the person gives the Optimus a voice command and it can respond back. The robot is still in development and testing and is not yet deployed commercially. So that's it for the Tesla Optimus. Like I said, I really love the design. It's really sleek and minimalist, and it looks really human. But that's all we know so far. This hasn't been battle tested in the real world yet. They're still developing this. Alright, next up we have UB Tech. They are a Chinese company that develops humanoid robots as well as consumer robotics. They were founded in 2012, so this is one of the older Chinese robotics companies, and they're headquartered in Shenzhen, which is like the Silicon Valley of China. And in terms of humanoid robots, they're currently working on one called Walker. Walker is designed to operate in households, offices, and factories. As you can see, it's fully autonomous and it can do many different tasks. It has a full range of senses, including vision, hearing, force feedback, and spatial awareness. All of these senses coordinate together for navigation and precise object handling. It can walk on many types of terrain and autonomously avoid obstacles. It can go upstairs, push carts, imitate human motions, and even do Tai Chi, as well as yoga. As with other competitor robots, such as the Tesla Optimus, Walker can balance on one leg. This is actually quite difficult to achieve, and not a lot of other robots can balance on one leg, so it's very impressive that they were able to pull this off. Here's a demo of it folding clothes. You can see, first of all, that it's integrated with an LLM. So this robot has an LLM built in called ErnieBot, and this is a large language model which is built by Baidu, one of the tech giants in China. This is kind of equivalent to GPT in America. So with this LLM built in its brain, it can understand commands such as this: Walker, I have a business trip tomorrow. Can you help me fold the clothing item in your hands? And it can respond with, of course, and then carry the action out. This robot also has microphones, so it can understand verbal instructions from a human. This is different from the Tesla Optimus, which, as far as we know, does not have this capability yet. And so here's the demo of it folding clothes. And it's safe to say this is actually a bit faster and smoother than the Tesla Optimus at folding a shirt. So here's a side-by-side comparison of both these robots. It seems that this Walker robot is just a tad bit faster.
Walker，衣服叠好了吗？
叠好了。
Walker，你觉得这件黑色衣服搭配什么颜色的裤子更好看呢？
搭配深色系的裤子比较适合正式场合。
Walker，请帮我把桌上的开关按种类放在不同的盘子里。
好的。
So you can see here it understands verbal commands. It also has semantic reasoning and understanding, so you could talk to it just like you would a regular chatbot. Here you can see it is able to understand and follow the person's instructions and sort these objects into the appropriate trays. Now, its movements are a tad bit slower than some of the other robots, which I'll show you.
Okay, we're going to have more on that as we get further on this week. There's a whole array of other robotics. Clarence, please put that audio down in my ear a second. Okay, so now let's take a look at the Rabbit Assistant. It came out a few weeks ago. I had, pretty high expectations. What will it do, and everything. I don't think it got the greatest reviews when it first came out. And I don't think it sold that well, but it was a very interesting device, and I can see, it's going to have legs. This or something like it is going to get into the zeitgeist, and it's going to be something we are going to use. Or maybe not. Maybe it will be our mobile phone, and it will take on all of the attributes of AI embedded in that one phone. Probably that's, I would imagine what will happen. But as a juxtaposition to that reality, there is the AI assistant. And here's the first one that's been released on a mass scale, Rabbit. Let's go to the video and check out the latest on Rabbit.
The world of AI assistants has become a familiar battleground, with tech giants like Google and Amazon constantly innovating. Consumers are used to assistants that can answer questions, play music, and control smart home devices. But Rabbit, a newcomer to the scene, just dropped a bombshell with their latest offering. Their new AI assistant, simply called the Rabbit R1, is not just another voice-activated helper. It's a game changer that's left the industry in shock. Believe me, you will love all the features. The launch of Rabbit 1. At CES 2024, Jesse Liu, the founder and CEO of Rabbit Inc., a new AI startup, introduced the R1, a pocket-friendly gadget that comes with a virtual assistant. You can carry it around and interact with it by giving voice commands. What makes this assistant special is that it can learn and perform various digital tasks based on what you teach it. R1 uses a mix of big language models to understand what you want and carry out your requests, thanks to OpenAI's ChatGPT and large action models made by Rabbit Inc. The R1 AI assistant simplifies the way you complete tasks. Normally, you might need to pull out your smartphone, find the right app, and navigate through it to get something done. With the R1, you just press a push-to-talk button and ask it to do the task for you. This is made possible by automated scripts called Rabbits that handle the tasks, allowing you to continue with your day without interruptions. The R1 is a compact red-orange square device, roughly the size of a stack of Post-it notes. It was designed with the help of the Swedish company Teenage Engineering, known for its innovative and stylish product designs. The R1's small size and ease of use make it a convenient tool for streamlining daily activities. The R1 device has a 2.88-inch touchscreen located on the left side. To the right of this screen, there is an analog scroll wheel for navigation. Above the scroll wheel, there is a special camera called the Rabbit Eye. This camera can rotate a full 360 degrees. When the camera is not being used, it faces either up or down, which acts as a built-in privacy shutter to protect your privacy. Rabbit Assistant features and capabilities. The Rabbit Eye camera is versatile, allowing you to use it as both a selfie camera and a rear camera. This means you can easily switch between taking photos of yourself and capturing what's in front of you. You can also use the Rabbit Eye for video calls, though it is not designed to function like a traditional smartphone camera. Instead, its main purpose is to offer flexibility and privacy in various uses, including video communications. The camera on the R1 is equipped with vision-powered AI, which allows it to understand and process what it sees. During a live demonstration, Liu showed how this feature works. He pointed the R1's camera at a printed spreadsheet. After taking a photo, he asked the device to swap the placement of 2 columns in the spreadsheet and to send him a copy of the updated version. Within seconds, Liu received an email on his computer with a digital version of the spreadsheet. The columns had been swapped as requested. This demonstration showed how the R1 can quickly and accurately convert physical documents into digital formats and make real-time edits, showcasing the powerful capabilities of its vision-powered AI. The R1 has a 4G LTE SIM card slot, meaning it can stay connected to the internet on its own without needing to pair with your phone or any other device. Additionally, you can connect the R1 to a Wi-Fi network if you prefer. The R1 is equipped with a USB-C port for charging. The company claims that the device can last all day on a single charge. This should make it convenient for use throughout the day without needing frequent recharges. R1 is not designed to replace your smartphone or function like one. You can't use it to watch movies or play games. Instead, its purpose is to handle simple, everyday tasks for you like a personal assistant. Let's say you're using R1 and you need to get an Uber ride. All you have to do is press and hold the push-to-talk button and say, "Get me an Uber to the Empire State Building." R1 will take a moment to understand what you said, and then it will show you some cards on the screen with details like the fare for your ride. After that, it'll go ahead and request the ride for you. This same process works for lots of different things. For example, if you want to book a table at a restaurant, buy a plane ticket, or add a song to your Spotify playlist, you can just use the push-to-talk button and tell R1 what you want. The thing about the R1 is that it doesn't come with any apps already installed on it. It also doesn't connect to any outside apps through APIs, which are like doorways that let apps talk to each other and share information. There are no extra add-ons or accounts to connect through either. Instead, RabbitOS works as a middleman. You can use a web portal to turn on access for specific apps. It's like flipping a switch to let certain apps in, without needing all the extra stuff that usually comes with them. There's a web page called the Rabbit Hole that has links for logging into different accounts like OpenTable, Uber, Spotify, DoorDash, and Amazon. If you click on one of these links, you'll be asked to sign in. By doing this, you're giving RabbitOS permission to do things on your connected account for you. The R1 has some cool features built right into it. For example, you can take notes on the device and then access them later through the Rabbit Hole web portal. Not only that, but you can also edit those notes right from the portal. It's so convenient. This device is also great for translations. You can easily translate things with it, as they showed live on stage during the presentation. If you need to understand something in a different language, the R1 has got you covered. If you prefer voice recordings, you can do that too. Then, you can access the recording as a WAV file through the web portal. Plus, you can even get an AI summary of what was said in the recording. And when you need to type something into the device, like a Wi-Fi password, there's a virtual keyboard built right in. The best part about Rabbit Inc.'s R1 is that it doesn't keep any of your login details for other services you use. When you log in to other apps or websites through R1, all the authentication happens directly on those services' login systems. Plus, you can disconnect R1's access whenever you want and delete any information it might have stored. Another great thing about R1 is that it doesn't have to constantly listen to everything you say like other voice assistants.
Okay, so that's the Rabbit. That's the Rabbit R1. And we'll have more information on that. It looks like a pretty cool device to me. We've been covering it, and it's something that I would like to get one of those soon. Okay, let me mention that the program is brought to you by the place where we're coming to you from, the Pendragon Apothecary. Pendragon Apothecary in downtown Ocean Springs, 1016 Government Street, and it's pendragonapothecary.com. We have an array of different medicinal herbs, teas, tinctures, mushroom powders, things like that here at the apothecary. So we hope that you will stop by and see us if you're passing by, or visit us online, pendragonapothecary.com. Okay, I think that's it for our show today. We'll get to some of the other videos that I mentioned tomorrow, more on robotics, on the humanoid robotics entering the workplace, and a few other little tidbits of AI news. So thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yesterday is yesteryear. Set your sights for tomorrowland. Future Shock is here to help you make your stand. Ready, set!